The wedding gift table at my sister Rachel's reception was a monument to conspicuous consumption. Crystal vases, silver serving sets, and kitchen appliances worth thousands of dollars gleamed under the country club's chandeliers while guests admired the impressive display. My contribution sat modestly among the elaborate presents. A simple card with a handwritten note. "Couldn't even afford a proper gift," the bride announced to everyone, Rachel said loudly enough for nearby tables to hear as she opened my card during the gift presentation ceremony. At 31, I worked as a technology consultant, specializing in cybersecurity and digital infrastructure for high-net-worth individuals and corporations. My family knew I worked with computers, but they'd never asked for specifics about my client base or income level. Rachel held up my card for the audience to see. My sister Emma gave me a lovely note about building security for the future. The dismissive tone in her voice made it clear she found my gift inadequate compared to the expensive items surrounding it. I ate quietly, watching from my assigned table in the back of the reception hall, the singles table naturally, while Rachel's new husband Brad shook his head sympathetically at his wife's disappointing family. "Some people express love differently," Rachel continued with forced diplomacy. "Emma's always been more practical than generous. The truth was more complicated." The note in my card contained access codes and documentation for a $2.5 million cybersecurity trust I'd established for Rachel and Brad, designed to protect their digital assets and provide income security for the next 30 years. But the card simply said, "For your future security," without elaboration. I'd learned to keep my professional success private after years of family members assuming my computer work meant I was probably struggling as a freelance website designer or maybe working tech support somewhere. My phone buzzed with a text from my assistant. "Mr. Blackstone's helicopter will arrive at 4 p.m. for the emergency consultation. Location confirmed as Rosewood Country Club." I checked my watch. 3:45 p.m. Marcus Blackstone, the billionaire tech mogul whose digital empire I'd been securing for 3 years, was flying in personally to discuss a critical security breach that had developed over the weekend. The timing was unfortunate, but when a client worth $12 billion needed emergency cybersecurity consultation, family weddings took second priority. "Emma looks embarrassed," I heard someone whisper from a nearby table. "Poor thing probably couldn't afford anything from the registry." The registry had indeed been expensive. Items ranging from $300 kitchen gadgets to $2,000 art pieces. Rachel and Brad had expensive taste for a couple where he worked in marketing and she managed a boutique clothing store. Around 3:50, I noticed unusual activity outside the country club's main windows. Security personnel in dark suits were establishing a perimeter in the parking lot while a helicopter approached from the east. My phone rang. Marcus Blackstone himself. "Emma, thank God you're available. The breach is worse than we thought. Someone's attempting to access the quantum encryption protocols for the satellite network." "How bad?" "Potentially catastrophic. If they succeed, they'll have access to communication systems for half the Fortune 500. I need your expertise immediately. I'm at a family wedding." "I know. That's why I'm coming to you. This can't wait until Monday." Through the country club windows, I could see the helicopter touching down on the golf course while security teams secured the area. The helicopter landing drew immediate attention from every wedding guest. Conversations stopped as people pressed against the windows to watch a sleek black aircraft settle onto the perfectly manicured 18th green. "What's happening?" Rachel asked, still holding my modest gift card while staring at the helicopter with obvious confusion. Brad consulted his phone. "Some kind of emergency landing? Should we call security?" "No need," said the country club manager, approaching our table with obvious deference. "This is a scheduled arrival for one of our guests. Mr. Blackstone has special clearance for emergency landings." "Mr. Blackstone?" Rachel's face went pale. "You mean Marcus Blackstone? The billionaire?" "Yes, ma'am. He's here for a business consultation with one of your wedding guests." Every head in the reception hall turned to scan the crowd, trying to identify who among them could possibly warrant a personal visit from one of the world's wealthiest technology entrepreneurs. My phone buzzed with another call from Marcus. "Emma, I'm on the ground. Where should we meet?" "Conference room B, just off the main lobby. I'll meet you there in 2 minutes." I stood up from the singles table, gathering my small purse while the room buzzed with speculation about which guest could be important enough for a helicopter visit. "Emma, where are you going?" Rachel called out, still clutching my gift card. "Business call. I'll be back shortly." "Business call? What kind of business call requires a helicopter?" I didn't answer, walking toward the country club's conference facilities while 150 wedding guests watched through the windows as Marcus Blackstone emerged from his aircraft surrounded by security personnel. Marcus was exactly as he appeared in business magazines, tall, confident, and radiating the kind of authority that came with controlling a technology empire worth more than some country's GDP. "Emma," he said, greeting me with genuine relief as we met in the conference room. "Thank you for making yourself available. This breach could destroy everything we've built. Show me what we're dealing with." For the next 20 minutes, we worked through quantum encryption protocols and cybersecurity countermeasures while my sister's wedding reception continued in the adjacent ballroom. The attack was sophisticated, state-level sophistication. But we developed a containment strategy that would protect Marcus's network while tracking the intrusion source. "Brilliant work as always," Marcus said as we completed the security protocols. "Your cybersecurity architecture is the only reason we caught this before catastrophic damage occurred. That's what you pay me for. Speaking of which, the quarterly consulting fee should hit your account tomorrow. $3 million as agreed." $3 million. Quarterly. For cybersecurity consulting that most people couldn't even understand, let alone perform. When the billionaire's helicopter arrived for his tech consultant. "Marcus, before you leave, could you do me a small favor?" "Anything. Could you briefly meet my family? They're unclear about what I do for work." Marcus smiled. "Of course. I'd be delighted to meet the family of my chief cybersecurity advisor." We returned to the reception hall, where every guest was still buzzing about the helicopter landing and Marcus Blackstone's mysterious presence at their wedding. Marcus approached our family table with the confident stride of someone accustomed to commanding attention in any room. "Excuse me," he said to Rachel, who was still holding my gift card and looking overwhelmed by the day's events. "Are you Emma's sister?" Rachel nodded mutely, apparently starstruck by the presence of an actual billionaire at her wedding. "Marcus Blackstone," he said, extending his hand. "I wanted to personally thank your family for sharing Emma with my company. Her cybersecurity expertise has been invaluable to our operations." "Cybersecurity expertise?" Rachel managed. "Emma designed and maintains the digital security infrastructure for my entire technology empire. Without her work, we'd be vulnerable to attacks that could cost billions in damages." Brad found his voice first. "Emma works for you?" "She's my chief cybersecurity consultant. Has been for 3 years. The quantum encryption protocols she developed for our satellite network are revolutionary." Rachel stared at me, then at Marcus, then back at me. "Emma's a cybersecurity consultant?" "One of the finest in the world," Marcus confirmed. "Her work protects digital assets worth approximately $12 billion. $12 billion. Her quarterly consulting fees reflect the value of her expertise." The silence that followed was deafening. Rachel was still holding my gift card, the modest piece of paper that had embarrassed her in front of her wedding guests, while one of the world's wealthiest men explained that her supposedly unsuccessful sister managed cybersecurity for a technology empire. "Speaking of which," Marcus continued, "Emma, the board approved your recommendation for expanding the Cybersecurity Trust Fund program. We'll be implementing similar protection protocols for our executive families." Rachel's eyes widened. "Trust fund program?" "Oh yes," Marcus said. "Emma's pioneering work in family cybersecurity protection. She's established digital asset protection trusts for several high-net-worth families. Very forward-thinking approach." I could see Rachel's mind working, connecting the dots between my gift card message about security for the future and the conversation she was hearing about cybersecurity trust funds. "Marcus," I said quietly, "perhaps we should let Rachel enjoy her wedding reception." "Of course. But before I leave, I wanted to thank you again for the emergency consultation. The security breach could have been catastrophic without your immediate response." He turned back to Rachel. "Your sister just saved several Fortune 500 companies from potential cyber attacks. I hope you appreciate having such a talented family member." Their gift registry looked rather small. Marcus shook hands with Brad, congratulated Rachel on her marriage, and headed back toward his helicopter while the entire reception watched in stunned silence. After Marcus's departure, the reception atmosphere had changed completely. Instead of being viewed as the unsuccessful sister with the inadequate gift, I found myself surrounded by wedding guests eager to discuss cybersecurity, technology investments, and digital protection strategies. Emma. Rachel approached me during the cake cutting, still holding my gift card but looking considerably more subdued. Can we talk privately? We stepped onto the country club's terrace while her reception continued inside. I owe you an enormous apology, she said quietly. For what specifically? For announcing that you couldn't afford a proper gift. For assuming your card was just inadequate. It was just a card, Rachel. No, it wasn't. When Marcus mentioned cybersecurity trust funds and family protection programs. She paused, looking at the card in her hands. This isn't just a note, is it? No, it's not. What exactly did you give us? I pulled out my phone and showed her the trust fund documentation. A $2.5 million cybersecurity protection trust. It'll provide digital asset security and generate approximately $200,000 annually for the next 30 years. Rachel stared at the numbers on my phone screen. $2.5 million? Plus ongoing digital protection services and cybersecurity consultation for any technology investments you and Brad make. Emma, this is more valuable than everything else on our gift table combined. Probably more valuable than everything else in the building combined. She sat down heavily on the terrace railing. I called you unsuccessful in front of everyone. I said you couldn't afford a proper gift. You did. And you just sat there and let me embarrass myself? I preferred to let my work speak for itself. 6 months later, Rachel and Brad purchased their first home using income from the cybersecurity trust. Rachel started asking detailed questions about my work and expressing genuine pride in my professional achievements. I want people to know my sister protects billion-dollar technology companies, she said when she introduced me at their housewarming party. But the most significant change was in how we communicated. Instead of making assumptions about each other's lives based on visible lifestyle markers, we started having real conversations about our work, our goals, and our challenges. At family gatherings now, no one questions the value of my gifts. And I've learned that sometimes the most meaningful presents come in simple cards. Just not the kind you'll find in any registry.